Ooh-wee-oo.
Ooh.
Hi.
Ooh.
Welcome back. Oh, she's still going. Lovely. Oh,
No.
she's still going.
Sorry.
Welcome back to Doctor Review, a series. I'm Chris.
Not Chris.
And you make a better weird tongue noise than I do.
That's for you.
They can't see it though.
No, that's for
Look,
you.
I get to see how hilarious your face is when you do it.
No.
But they can hear it. Give them the lower octave one. Beautiful. Now give them like a flash of the high octave. So good. I wish you guys could see this, but no. What you should have seen. Little woolly bully.
Little tiny stoops.
It's a stupendium.
Ooh.
Now, what you should have seen is, before watching or listening to this, rather, the Empress of Mars, the Eaters of Light, the World Enough in Time, and the Doctor Falls of Series 10. This is our last Series 10 video for Modern Who, and our last full series for Capaldi, and also Capaldi's last story. We wish. Anyway, so...
Can I just ask you?
Yes.
What's the episode before this called?
The one before this was The Lie of the Land.
Thank God. I've written notes, but not put the name of the episode.
You said that the other day. I said, have you got your app open to make your notes? And you went, yeah. I said, so it's the Empress of Mars. You went, I don't write the titles. I was like,
I do usually.
No wonder you struggle to find it.
I write them in capitals and everything, but I just didn't for this one.
The Lie of the Land, not for
these
ones.
For the next ones.
Okay, well, let's crack in, shall we? Empress of Mars, second Ice Warrior story of the modern era. And as of today, last Ice Warrior story of the modern era. We've only had the two, Cold War and the Empress of Mars. Which, do you know what? Good. Because I think with the classic monsters, it's sort of more of a treat for them to show up rarely.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, have them not show up often, and then that way it is kind of like, yay, it's these guys again. As opposed to,
yeah, I'm a llama again.
Christ, they've crowbarred them in this season again. Or there's an estate that forces them to be here all the time again. But yeah, I absolutely was surprised by how much I enjoyed this one. I remember feeling rather indifferent to it on broadcast. That was the last time I watched it.
The thing happened again that you do, where you say, oh, this is where it gets rubbish.
Yeah, I said this one's not that great.
That's not bad.
I think my prediction was correct for one of these in terms of how you took to it, but we'll get to that. But it wasn't this one. This one
was kind of... I mean...
Oh
no! Bill, no, Bill!
Kill Bill!
I'm sorry.
Volume 2.
I've got to do something to keep my hands busy. Can't
fun.
not do anything.
So use both your hands to bring that table over before you cause chaos and disrupt the
Because my
filming
flip-flop's
location.
stuck under it.
Oh dear
I'm
Lord.
sorry.
Not Chris is trying to bring a table closer to herself.
Sorry.
And now she's Sarah Milligan. Oh God, now you're moving that thing.
I live in chaos.
Jesus. This is the second Mark Gatiss episode with the Ice Warriors and the second Ice Warrior episode of the modern era. We love Mark, fans of his work, he's a lovely man.
Mark Gatiss. He's lovely.
But we're sort of in his, and I mean this purely just from a fan of the episodes thing here, we're in his Moffat era Moffat stage. Like how Moffat's strongest and most memorable stuff was under Russell. And now Mark's stuff is sort of the last few episodes at Crimson Horror, good stuff, but then Sleep No More are in that kind of, you forget about the episodes until you get up to them in a binge.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, more of a symptom of the show at this point rather than a writer's distinct flavour. This is full of Gatissisms. This is full of them. His reverie for Victorian language and slang. His kind of slamming together iconic or iconographic, like, British insignia.
You just made that word up.
Iconographic, probably. Iconic British insignia of a very specific time and kind of, the British Empire kind of vibe. And slamming it into a situation where it doesn't belong. Usually kind of messes with it. It's something alien invades, and this is why this one's interesting, I guess. It's something alien invades a setting we're familiar with. Daleks are in World War II. There are ghost aliens in Victorian London. Like, it's usually, there is... the advent of television brings about a parasitic creature living in the TV. Like, there's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's, oh no, this time a bunch of Victorian soldiers interrupt a sci-fi location and set up camp. I really like the deserter plot. I think that's quite cool. The idea of like
It's quite brutal, really.
yeah, the the idea of the captain basically, you know, leading this special group almost in like a they've just put him there, haven't they? They've put him there to get him out of the way and this that and the other. When really he's a deserter, like he has the mark of a hanged man around his neck. He survived his attempted execution and he fled. And the way that kind of wraps up, he gets to kind of redeem himself in his own. Like they know that whatever was going to happen at the end, he would never be happy with his resolution unless he felt it was an honourable death in the name of saving his men, like doing a non-cowardly thing. And the fact that the Empress at that point goes like, what's her name, Iraxa, going, do you know what? Actually, no, you've earned my respect, and I'm going to have you like be part of what we're going to do next.
You won't die today.
Yeah, how there is no kind of villain in this really, except for Jackdaw, the dude who like tries to steal stuff and get back to it. No, Jackdaw obviously, and is it Catchglove, the one who sort of usurps everything and becomes the leader.
Yeah, I thought that's what you were talking about.
Well, like, the two of them are sort of the only actual, I guess, villains of the story, because Jackdaw sets all the events in motion that lead to everyone getting murdered. And then Catchglove is the one who takes advantage of it to be like, I'm a leader now, and we'll kill everybody, and we'll do this and the other, and then, I guess I'll desert you all, goodbye. And it's like, what a dick.
He's a deserter. I'm going to be a deserter.
Yeah, I hate deserters. Now, I'm going to desert you all. It's just like, well, goodbye.
I like desserts.
I love dessert. There's like the stuff with the soldiers is quite good. I like the layout. You feel really sorry for. I think it's Vincy is the soldier who sort of gets roped into Jackdaw's plan, because you get the sense he's like, I'm not going to mess with him. He's obviously dangerous.
Oh,
he's like,
yeah.
He's like knocked out Sergeant Major Peach and everything, and it's just there's some nice character building. I feel a two-parter would have allowed us to get to know everybody a bit better, maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like they're underutilized a little, but enough is given for the 45-minute context of an episode.
Yeah.
So, fine. The idea of the TARDIS freaking out at the start and leaving, taking Nardole away, is an interesting extra sort of little very classic series kind of, and the TARDIS is gone.
That TARDIS
they can't just leave then.
That TARDIS yeeted out of there.
It
was like, nah.
Is that the noise it makes when you slow down the audio? Yeet. That's the sound a key makes scraping down piano wire. Yeet. Dab, dab, dab.
You just dabbed, and I don't know how I feel.
The TARDIS dabbed. Dabbed this. Tardab. Anyway, Friday. It's weird that we're only one Ice Warrior story in, and they've already got, right, here's a variant. He's got a smashed lens and he's a bit scarred, and do you know what I mean? It's similar to Sarah Jane Adventures, the last Sontaran. Like, we'd had the Sontaran two-part in Doctor Who the same year, and then Sarah Jane Adventures starts, and you've got Karg in that, and it's a slight variant, no gloves, big scar down his face, chipped armour. But it's weird. It's like, I don't know, it feels like they've not established the Ice Warriors so much in the modern era to modern audiences yet.
Yeah.
To suddenly be like, now here's this one. However, I do like the sort of the battle scars that distinguish him.
Well, I don't have that
his
point.
burnt out eyeball.
I don't have that point of view because I do know. No, I do know them, and I do recognise them. So it does look cool to me.
Sure. What do you think about the Empress? What do you think about Iraxa?
Yetaxa.
Tatoxel. What do you think about Iraxa?
I love Tatoxel.
No, Iraxa.
I think she looked great.
Design's cool, very Predator.
Yeah,
with the dreads.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's the thing that you said that straight away. You said, I'm getting Predator vibes, and then she turned around, and you saw her hair, and you were like, what?
Yeah, whipped it out.
Yeah, I thought she was very cool. It was. She kind of did that thing though, where it was like the Empress of the Rapnos did this as well. She's just like, I talk like this kind of thing, and I don't know why, but I find that really annoying.
Well, I mean, the Ice Warriors have precedent, I suppose. Like, the classic ones speak like this.
That's true, and to be fair,
and Nick Briggs' voice for the, although I don't think he voices Friday. I think Friday's completely Richard Ashton in this, if I'm not mistaken. But his voice in the last one and stuff in Cold War sort of paid homage to the hissing sound, but it was very much a, no, we're not going to do that. They're going to speak like this. And there's going to be this kind of slight, almost it's like the sound of steam escaping in the vocals.
How do you feel about that?
How do you mean?
Do you like it? Do you like that?
I like that Iraxa did it, because, like, sure, homage, why not? I also like that her helmet is its own thing, and the skeletons are part of it. But, like, it looks kind of like the Cyberman. The Ice Warrior helmets from, like, the Peladon two-parters, like the Emperor and stuff, and the King and all that. Like, they have that more triangular kind of Batman cowl-esque helmet.
Yeah.
So it was sort of a nod to that. And the fact that by the end of this, you essentially get confirmation that, that stuff hasn't happened in their timeline yet.
But
in fact, it's this group of Ice Warriors that eventually become the ones we see in the Peladon stories.
Peladon, not Peloton.
No, Peladon. You know, with Agador. Harun.
Agador Spartacus.
Not Agador Spartacus.
He cannot wear shoes.
They make him fall down. I love the fact that you had the seed planted by doing this marathon to have the same reaction I did when I saw this go out in 2017, when Yasan Churchman reprised her role at the goddamn age of 93
Whoa.
to voice Alpha Centauri at the end of this story. That rhymed. Alpha Centauri at the end of this story. Like, when I saw it in 2017, I was like, oh, that's a lovely touch, because I'd already seen the Peladon stories.
Yeah.
As soon as the communication began at the end of this, and that voice started peeking through, you, like, jumped in your seat and, like, grabbed me and went, no. Because you were already, like, picturing a big eyeball, weren't you?
Big ass
just
eyeball.
like, oh my god!
Something it looks like a teacher made really quickly for a school play.
It's such a nice touch.
Everybody loved it.
It's such a nice touch. I love it. I love it. It's like
it was very heartwarming. But we did talk about afterwards that if you don't know who they are, that's going to be like,
no. It's a cute moment because it's setting up the idea of like, look, we're going to set you up with some people and they're going to put you on the right path.
Yeah? I don't know him.
Like that setup is clear.
Huh?
It's the large swelling music that's very much meant to be a
I guess
huzzah moment.
Look at this.
Yeah, and of course any new viewers would be like, what?
What the hell is that?
Whereas
it's like a primary school teacher's made it.
Whereas it absolutely worked on us because we were like, yay! It's the same kind of way that, because of the chronology of the monsters, like not all of them travel through time, so like they have a chronology if you look for it, and the idea that like in the Snowmen, the lunchbox that the 11th Doctor has with the London Underground on it is unwittingly a catalyst to give the Great Intelligence the idea to use the Underground in a later story for itself.
Yeah.
But in that way, it's not played up as a it's a oh right okay.
See it or you'll miss it.
Yeah, like blink and you'll miss it kind of thing. It's like,
what did I say? See
it and you'll miss it. See it and you'll miss it.
That's what I do.
It's like the box office of most films this summer. We're recording this in July of 2023, a year where every movie at the moment, bar Across the Spider-Verse, has basically bombed.
I can't believe we're in July.
Well, they're next year now. How is it? Is it good? We hope so.
Did we make it?
Did we make it? I like it. It's fine. It's very much a that was good.
Yeah, it wasn't a this is integral to remember kind of thing. It was a fun jaunt.
Bill stepping up to kind of match Iraxa. When Iraxa was like, "You were the only female. That's the only opinion I'm interested in. What do you think?" And at first she was like, "Ugh," and then later on she uses that to her advantage to sort of play for time. I like the idea of again it being an Ice Warrior crashes. They help repair his ship in exchange for gold. And Friday,
in exchange for tea and
Friday's taking them to Mars, and it's kind of unclear whether or not he wanted them to help him wake his Empress, or just get him to his Empress, and then he'd be like, right, here's some jewels, like leave us alone, whatever.
Here, look at this. Well, he probably would have like taken the gems off. And then she'd have woken up, and then
he used to be like, "Oh, don't worry about them. They're off now. Bye, toodles, Pipsky."
Bye.
It's also fun to have a new spacesuits episode. Like steampunk spacesuits.
Steampunk spacesuits. Very freaking cool.
Yep, indeed. Yeppers indeedums.
Do you want to hear my notes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and obviously the important thing
yeah.
at the end of the TARDIS gets sorted because Nardole speaks to Missy, and Missy's the one who rescues them. Starting up the sort of the final arc of this half of the series.
Why does the TARDIS go? No.
If I remember correct, I. Oh yeah, I hate the present day bit at the beginning where they're in NASA in
Excuse me. Sorry.
present day, and they find the words "God save the Queen" on Mars, and the Dr. Bill and Nardole just happen to be there.
Sorry,
Right.
folks. I've had some gin today.
Yes, you will. Let me see. I can't find it written down as to why it happened. It just happens. So there you go.
They're just in space.
Yeah, the TARDIS just leaves, and then it happens so Missy can pilot it. Basically. Go on. What are your notes, sir? What are your notes?
Great news. Nice. Assuming this is for the right episode, because I didn't write the titles, because I'm a teat. Why doesn't he know movies now? With an eye-rolling emoji. Not knowing Terminator or The Thing. Yeah, no.
No.
How could you know what Alien is, but not know what The Thing is?
Well, he didn't know what Alien was, but the 10th Doctor knew what Aliens was in
That makes
Dreamland.
no friggin' sense. Anyway, I wrote, I love Capaldi.
Yeah. Now that he's not having to pretend to be blind, he's having a lot more fun.
I've put my glasses on now. Yeah, still handsome Capaldi.
She recently got her eyes tested and has glasses for the first time.
Yeah, I don't know where they are though.
Great! Welcome to wearing glasses.
Cool.
This is why I have 2 pairs.
Love that steampunk spacesuit. Love it.
Love that spacesuit.
Love that spacesuit. Hell yes, teen cake. They were having teen cake in the cave in space. Loved it.
Space cake.
Space. Well, maybe it
I
was.
just realised something.
Yeah.
Mark Gatiss episode. It was filmed in a cave. Back in 1974, you couldn't move down here for Cybermen.
Oh, Cyberman.
I remember one incident with Tom Baker spraining his ankle on that rock there. Just goes to show how easy the accidents happen.
Why do
We've
you?
come full circle!
Why do you know that monologue?
I learnt it to get into college. That's how I got into college.
You did. You didn't wear the tiny pants though.
No, because that would have been creepy. I was 16, you weirdo.
I would have liked it because I was also 16.
You were 16 at the time, but if you like it now, then I'd be calling you Miranda Sings. Sorry, carry on. That's a topical joke that may not even be topical when this video comes out.
Oh, yeah, I still don't know who that is, so anyway.
I'll put the ukulele away just so we don't embarrass ourselves.
The portrait of Queen Victoria,
Hey,
nice touch.
2024, do you remember that? Yes, using Pauline Collins' likeness from Tooth and
I've got to
Claw.
say, she didn't look amused.
Oh, go on, may as well dab, go on. Oh god, she dabbed.
Anyway, the crumpled body.
You laughed at that in the Next Time trailer, and then you saw it in context, and you went, "Oh, that's horrific."
That's fucking brutal. Sorry.
Sorry, I'll mark it as a language one.
Sorry. That's frigging brutal. I've got
Yeah,
in for a
it is,
penny, in for a pound. That's fucking brutal. They are crumpled bodies. They're literally like screwed up into a ball.
Mm-hmm.
That's grim.
Mm-hmm.
If I'd seen that as a kid, I would be disturbed to this day. Genuinely.
My question is, where do all the fluids squish out?
You don't want to know. What do they drink? People fluid that they've squeezed and turned into squish balls.
So just blood and poo and all the niceties in a cocktail.
I wrote, "Woo! Women helping women. Empress asking for Bill's opinion due to noisy men."
Funnily enough, that kind of stuff written by someone that's not Stephen doesn't feel cringy. Mark
Absolutely.
writing it was fine.
Right.
Stephen writing it always feels kind of cringy.
That felt like a little woo.
Mm.
That did not feel. No, you're right. It's because it wasn't sexual.
Yeah, that too.
I wrote Alpha Centauri cameo with big capitals.
Setting up the events of the Galactic Federation.
Hooray!
Peladon stories.
Go.
Caron. I do like that.
But yeah, if I'd have seen that before ever watching this, starting from the beginning, I'd genuinely been like, Did I miss something? Yes, I did miss something many, 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 many years ago. Like
40 years prior, so yeah. Should we move on?
That's it. That's it for the notice.
The Eaters of Light.
Oh, I thought we were finished.
You donkey. The Eaters of Light. By Rona Munro. As of now, still the only writer to have written for the classic series and the modern series. From cheetah people and thinly veiled lesbian relationships in then modern day London to a bunch of Romans getting eaten by the thing from the sewers in Hellboy. This is mostly forgettable. I don't think it's bad, but it's just it's very much like pre-finale syndrome.
Excuse me.
Where the episode before the finales is usually one that's kind of like, yeah, it's alright. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a Fear Her. You know, that kind of thing. Where it's just sort of like, yeah, alright, or The Lodger. And you're just like, okay, sure.
It's a filler.
Yeah.
Episode, yeah.
Like, it's not bad, but it's now special.
Yeah, compared to the coming episodes, it's one of them that...
It feels like it'd be a great book.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, it is in the target range.
Funnily enough, it is a great book.
It is in the target range. So I think that's my cue to buy the target novelisation and give that a read.
Yeah.
Because I think what makes it suffer as a piece of television is it's meant to feel action-packed and tense, but it also is only set in 3 locations. A hut, next to some stones, and in a cave. We spent all of last week in caves. We spend a chunk of this week in a cave. So there's kind of a very similarly visual, not that interesting.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of facing the morality of the Romans and their invasion of Scotland and you know, coming to the British Isles and everything. Like, I think that is absolutely worth tackling. The idea that, like, these are just kids, they've been told to do this, does not make it right. And at the end, they try to make up for it by, like, siding with them.
Yeah.
But then also the fact that the group in... Well, what are their group called? They're a Pict tribe. The fact that their tribe is, like, bloodthirsty and, you know, feeling vengeful, quite rightly, but are following, essentially, the whims of one member of their group who essentially is lying to them.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, we killed Romans, I killed them all. It's like, did you? It's like, no, you witnessed them dying and now you're trying to get the monsters that killed them back in the box. I feel like it'd be better if she had more control over what had happened. I'm not saying that she killed the Ninth Legion, but instead of it being, yes, I did it. What's her name? Carr.
Get in the...
And her friends, Motorbike and Laurie. Rebecca Benson does a good job in the role. But I think it'd be more interesting if she had found the thing, made it happen, was kind of dealing with her own regret, but was masking it with a, no, we won and we'll do it again. Or maybe she was more of an antagonist. She was actually kind of conflicted and was like, no, we're gonna make this happen and we're gonna kill the last ones. And the episode was about, like, sort of trying to bring her back to her humanity and be like, you do realise you are no better than them if this is how you're going to behave.
Yeah.
Same with Lucius and the rest of the Romans. They're very wet, like just a bit wet lettuce, bit. You know what I mean?
Is that on purpose though? Because they are.
Well, yeah, they're the ones who ran. But it's also like, wait, what are they going to do? And I don't think it's the actor's fault, but by the time the episode ends, they're like, we're going to join you, we're going to go into this, like, rift and fight them forever and fight them back. Like, I don't buy that they're going to survive at all.
Yeah.
So when you get the opening of, like, the girl in modern-day Scotland listening to the Stones singing and the music, the same freaking 8 bars over and over again, which gets so bad at the end. It's just like, like the last 5 minutes of the episode.
Come on, it's notorious for staying the same. It's very boring. We can't stay here. None of the kids like it. You're going to be a loser for staying here.
Loser. But like, if because they showed her in modern day, it sort of implies that, and they're still protecting the rift to this day. And I'm like, I don't believe you. They are children who were ill-equipped and couldn't, like, if we saw them fight off and kill one of those monsters together before they went in, I'd go, do you know what? Maybe they're going to do this. But that doesn't happen. The monster suffers from, I guess, kind of a lack of a star moment, really.
Yeah.
Like, so it's a dog lizard thing.
Where do you do see it though, don't you?
Oh, you see a CGI one swimming around that thing in the void, and one swims close to camera.
I thought it looked quite good.
Oh, it looked fun, like the practical version of it, like its head, but it was a bit more of a puppet. That looked cool. The fact that it's it's a bit confused. It's like, do you remember in the Dungeons and Dragons film, and you watch, and D&D fans will come after me in the chat now, but like in the Dungeons and Dragons film, there's that like panther.
But the one that's just come out.
Yeah, it's called like as the recording of this video a year ago for you lot. It's called like a deceiver or something, and it's like a panther, and it had like 2 tentacles coming out of its back with Venus flytraps on them.
Yeah.
And you look at it and you go, no, but what's that for?
Yeah.
Like, how does that work? What's the thing here? Does it like grab people's limbs with the mouths and then like use its main mouth to bite their head off or something? We never see that. And same with these creatures, like they're just sort of. It's like, so it's got tentacles coming out of its like sides, and they like tear at people and make them unwell. And then what? You know what I mean? Now we learn their purpose. Like they survive in the darkness and they thrive off of light. Like light is what feeds them. So like when we see the corpses, second episode in a row where the bodies are really horrific. When we see the corpses of the people that they've killed, and that field of them, like the Ninth Legion, is creepy. Yeah. Like it's the whole thing of they stabbed them and they've basically taken all of the effects of sunlight out of their body. Like any benefit we get from the light on our human form, they drain it out. And it's like the body's been drained of all fluid and everything, and it's been like that for centuries, but it's clearly
Doctor Who and horrific deaths.
You've only just realised what show you've been watching for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
But like, do you know what I mean? It's just long gone are the simple salad days of plastic chairs falling in on you. Even that's horrific when you think of it in context. It just looks hilarious.
I mean, when it's been restored and redone.
We watched the Blu-ray version of Terror of the Autumn since.
It still looks awful.
It looks awful, but it's edited better. It definitely looks a lot slicker.
Yeah, it's not as slow.
No, it's a bit more convincingly like,
it's
oh
obvious
god.
That it's just a chair going down.
So, it's fine.
Would it have been better as Sarah Jane episode?
No, because I think you couldn't have gotten away with the Roman Legion and deaths part. Now, if it was a Sarah Jane adventure story about discovering the stones, and through some kind of contrivance they learn about what happened in the past, yeah, it could work. I think it could have worked great as like a Torchwood episode, for example. You could have done a much more kind of like graphic version of it. I just feel like it's very...
meh.
Again, I feel like it would be a great Doctor Who book, but as an episode it just kind of falls short of memorable for me. Like the idea of the Doctor and Nardole being separated from Bill, that's scary. The idea of her being attacked in a way where we're learning from the Doctor and Nardole's POV what happens to people, their bodies, and we know she's been scratched, and you're like, oh god, no! And then you see that the Romans are looking after her, and it's about like her being in the light, and keeping her in the sunlight, and speaking through the cave, and that'll cure her. The time skip of the Doctor being in the thing coming out, and Nardole's like ingratiated himself, but also Bill's been in that cave for the last few days as well, is a bit like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just... I think I say the locations let it down, but there are a couple of beautiful establishing shots with the Doctor and Nardole exploring on the mountains. It's that big, here is an actual location, look at this place, isn't it beautiful? Like, shot toward the beginning of, like, the lakes and the mountain range and that.
Yeah.
But then the fact that the rest of it's in caves a week after we've watched an episode where people are in caves, it just feels like maybe if this was earlier in the series, or...
Maybe that's all the budget they had. Just cave budget.
No, but the cave budget. God. But you know what I mean? Just like you want them to be visually distinct week to week, so that they don't all blend into one. That's why you do a future episode and then a historical episode. You do a modern episode. You sort of vary the time period and the planets to sort of keep it visually distinct. Okay. I do want to read the book. See if that changes my mind. The idea that Missy's been in the TARDIS the whole time monitoring the situation is a nice revelation, because you realise, oh God, he's really going to give her a chance, isn't he? Like, she has been repenting over 500 years now, it's implied.
Well, he's like desperate.
Oh, it's meant to be up to 500 years, whatever, isn't he? He's meant to watch the Vault. He's been watching it, obviously, for a good, at least 50, 60 years. So it's like...
Isn't it at least 500 years?
That's how long he's got to watch over it, but he's been at the university, allegedly, for about 60 years. Was sort of in the first episode, it suggests he's been there around that time.
500 years and 60 years are close.
Well, no, because he's not sticking to the rules of the... Well, he is to a point, isn't he? He's like, look, I killed her, and now I'm keeping her in here. But he's obviously going against that now, because he's been sneaking her out and letting her, like, observe their adventures and stuff. The brief discussion of sexuality of the Romans is brilliant.
Yeah,
like that a lot.
It's true.
Like, Bill's sort of like, oh, this guy's got a bit of a crush on me, I need to let him down. And as soon as she does, he's like, oh, yeah, no, that's fine, don't worry about it. And she's like, you don't mind?
Like, you're only interested in one sex. Oh, okay.
Oh, that's very... Yeah, that's quite quaint. And it's like, I wonder how many bigots nowadays would even remember. They always go like, oh, we should go back to like being like warriors, like the Greeks or the Romans. And it's like, what? The most notoriously sex-positive...
The Greeks?
Yeah, the most notoriously like sex-positive cultures in history.
Okay.
Amongst them, anyway. It's
Greeks were anything that walked. And things that didn't.
Jesus. What are your notes? What are your notes for the Eaters of Light, sir?
Maybe it was Jesus.
Good Lord.
No, okay.
Good Lord.
Well, maybe.
I like the popcorn deception, that's fun. The way that it's sort of set up, the tribe obviously have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
And then when the Doctor throws it in, you, the viewer, are like, okay.
Yeah, but when they react to it, their body reacts to it like, oh no, but their faces, they're just like as if nothing.
You said that at the time, you're like, the extras are not, they're not working that day. They're not working for it.
The soldier telling Bill that she's speaking Latin, that was funny because she just could not understand it.
It's the first time in the show since, I think, like Martha or whatever, where they've actually gone, should we acknowledge how this works? It's been a while, hasn't it? Where they've sort of gone the telepathic circuits, probably. But if they do, I think they might have done it in the Meanwhile in the TARDIS like DVD shorts or something. Or
is it not when they find the little girl and the singing with the. Oh no, wait, that's...
No, they'll speak English. It's the Starship UK.
Well,
moving on. But it's cool, like the idea of like the TARDIS is doing its thing.
And she just can't fathom it.
Yeah.
I think that's funny. Romans again. Eye rolling. I know
it's been a while.
Yeah, but what is the fascination with Romans? It could have been
the same reason ITV and BBC are fascinated with period dramas set in the Victorian era. The costumes are owned.
Yeah, true.
The locations have been preserved for historical and touristy reasons. You can shoot there and wear the things easily.
I wrote, I know we were taught it for 5 years in school, but come on, Moffat. Everyone's obsessed with the Romans. The deaths are brutal in this series. Disintegrated bones. The acting of these extras is a bit ropey, to say the least. I like the music. Yeah, the score was nice. Apart from the actual bit of music that they were focusing on. That sounded like somebody sat on a bagpipe. These Romans are quite skinny.
Well, they've been in that cave for a while.
It doesn't look like they atrophied. It looked like they were just fucking skinny.
Alright.
Skinny lads.
Alright, body shaming Romans, okay.
The portal looked like little lizards or dragons. I couldn't focus on it as if it were a bad thing because they look like little dragons. They were cute. CGI monster is pretty good. The end of my notes.
Good Lord.
La 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 la. Notes. I'm filling because Christian was looking at something on his phone.
Specifically, recap notes for World, Enough and Time. I said it prior to going into this story that this is my favourite finale of the modern era. My last favourite finale of the modern era since the Pandorica opens, the Big Bang.
Okay.
Like, really don't care for the Wedding of River Song, really don't care for the Name of the Doctor, Dark Water, Death in Heaven can do one. Same with
the others.
How's it got? Face the Raven, Heaven Sent, Hellbent. Like, they can all do one. Yeah?
Yeah, I agree.
World Enough in Time and The Doctor Falls is cracking. Is it anything special? I wouldn't say necessarily, but it takes some big fucking swings.
Yeah.
And it pays off.
Yeah.
One of which is the time skips paying off narratively because they're heartbreaking. The idea of the ship stuck trying to pilot itself away from a black hole, and as a result, time moving differently from the nose of the ship to the base.
That's such a clever idea.
Is genius.
So clever.
It's very clever, and this time I mean it. Because the dude up top, what's his name? George, played by Oliver Lansley, our second blue man of the series. Which is nice because that sort of becomes shorthand now, hasn't it, for like different humanoid species throughout the galaxy that they're going to bump into, that you can just have people who are blue.
Yeah. And
that's been going on obviously since the end of the world in series
you can
1.
find Blue Man Group in Universal.
Oh good lord. But
the
fact that that's been going on now is a nice little shorthand. It's a nice easy alien variant that you can put in there and people just go, yeah, right.
Yeah.
The fact that his crew, the ship was, he's part of a team that was bringing this ship off of a dying world. It's full of essentially the planet's population. Something's gone wrong. They've been sucked into the black hole. They're trying to get down to the end of the ship to sort of fix the thruster situation, see if they can't pivot. And he's a visitor. Like, he's not of that planet. He's from another planet who's just part of the crew.
Yeah.
So the things that start coming for people leave him alone because he's not human.
Yeah.
And they're after humans.
Yeah.
He wonders where his team have gone, and his team did make it down there 2 days ago. And then, for them, it's been much longer than 2 days.
Yes.
The human-seeking things that have come for him, that come upstairs and that, are the descendants of his crew. That's mad. So when we have the whole thing of Bill being stuck like 60 floors down or whatever, or 500 floors down or whatever it is, and observing the Doctor, Missy and Nardole on the screen in real time, which means for her they're basically a very slow flip book.
Yeah. That
moves a page like once every 2 weeks.
That's so cool.
It's like, oh, that's so depressing because she's going to be there.
I mean, depressing.
So long. No, but the concept is really cool visually, but also, holy shoot, the story opens with Bill being executed.
Sorry, can we just focus on the fact that you just said holy shoot?
Yes.
You're adorable.
You dropped the F-bombs. I'm trying to keep a 12 certificate. Wait, how many F-bombs did you use?
Don't know. Fuck knows.
Damn it, 15 certificate. But, yeah, like, did you expect Bill to get shot point blank with a big hole through her gut?
No, I didn't, actually.
Now, you weren't, like, aware of the specifics of this story, were you? But this is definitely one that over the years
I didn't know anything about this.
That surprises me. I thought you would have caught on to a couple of things, but I'm glad that that's the case. So as such, I'm just going to list off the surprises.
I did guess.
I'm going to list off the surprises of this episode, and I want you to say when the penny dropped for you.
Okay.
And how you felt.
Yeah.
Okay? First surprise, Missy revealing the Doctor's name is actually, or was actually, Doctor Who. He just changed it because he felt embarrassed.
That had no consequence to me because I just didn't care.
It's cute though, right?
Yeah.
I love it. Because it's finally, in canon, here's a little joke that explains every time anyone's ever actually called him Doctor Who in the show. There you go. It's a little joke. It's a throwaway bit. Isn't it cute? Moving on. And it annoys all the right people.
You want to get angry? Just get angry.
I love it. I am the enigmatic Doctor Who. And these are my plucky companions. Exposition and comic relief. It's just like, oh my god. Gomez is having a ball.
Yeah.
And it's fun to see her
having a ball.
Part of the cast, weirdly. Like, I didn't like Series 8 Missy. I think she's great. I don't think the character's particularly interesting. I hate The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch is Familiar, but I loved spending time with Missy and Clara because it meant we got to spend time with Missy.
Yeah.
Like, in scenes, instead of her being the enigmatic reveal, we got to spend time with her. Like, same with her Hannibal Lecter scenes in Death in Heaven. She's strapped to the gurney and stuff. Like, she's great because you get to spend time with the character.
Yeah.
Here, obviously, we're dealing with a Missy who's reveling in the fun and the chaos of this, but, like, is, you know, ultimately actually trying to do better.
Yeah. And
that's fascinating. We're getting our third Doctor callbacks in little ways here and there. The Doctor uses Venusian Aikido to knock out George, get the gun off of him.
George. At least we give Aristocats.
Okay, second surprise, Bill's death.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. They didn't see that. So
no, I know, but I'm still saying sorry.
She caught my foot.
Caught his little tootsie.
You got to treat like Tom Cruise in that Mission Impossible film where he broke his ankle jumping over a building and then kept running. Yeah. You can't acknowledge it because they can't see it.
Don't YouTube it, guys. It's gross. It's
gross. You could see it and not notice, but then watch it in slow motion and you notice.
Foot.
Anyway, death of Bill.
No, that was a surprise.
And the fact that it is, I was going to say a commitment. This is Moffat. Moffat is scared of dying.
Yeah.
There's a great Firefly Fans video about that, written and voiced by a sexy, sexy man. Go look it up. Stephen Moffat is scared of dying. Stephen Moffat's greatest fear. And that happens here. Bill gets killed in the pre-titles.
Yes.
And then is resurrected.
Yeah.
After the title sequence.
Yeah.
But of course it's part of the story, and the commitment to how much more horrific this gets is admirable.
Yeah.
These are the big swings I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The body horror here is the shocking thing, not the death.
Yeah. I had no clue.
So when Bill woke and she had a big blocky thing on her chest, did you put two and two together at that moment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
was that because of the
gloves?
Well, they don't have gloves.
No, at the beginning, when they grabbed her.
The Cybermen didn't. That's a nitpick, but I'll tell you about it in a second. So I thought for you it was the white, like, balaclava heads would have been the giveaway.
No, I guess
so it was the hands. See, that interests me because they never had those.
Yeah, they did.
No, they didn't. In the original 10th Planet, those are human ass hands.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think you are remembering something I've said at some point and putting two and two together. So, well, jolly how Christmas will be. The Montpessian Cybermen, which is said as though it's a big reveal, but it's just like, well, you should just say this is where it began. This is the Cybermen.
This is a Cyberman.
Which you know, the Masters like do later by doing Genesis of the Cybermen, which makes no sense in context. It's obviously meant to be like like the Dalek story, whatever. But it is what it is. It is the genesis of the speech. This is where they actually began, which we've never seen. We've always heard about. And when they first appeared in their first appearance on the 10th Planet in 1966, they didn't have gloves on their hands. Those were just human hands. The reason I think they have gloves on their hands in this, flesh-coloured gloves, specifically Caucasian flesh-coloured gloves, is for the sake of publicity, because they were in some promo stuff, these Cybermen. I think it was there to mask the fact that the most prominent one we were going to see over the two parts wouldn't have had white male hands.
Yeah.
I think that's why they did it. It was their way of going, no, they all have hands like this. But it's like, huh. And I think I've mentioned that at some point in the past, and you've remembered that. So you must have seen those hands and gone, Cybermen. Well, by the time she explores the hospital, and it's the pain, you went, oh, it is the Cybermen, isn't it? You said that. So it was like, you'd put all things together by that point. Even though they're not talking like those Cybermen yet, but the clues are there.
Yeah.
Mr. Razor is our next reveal.
Not a clue. Not a clue.
I was so happy about that because when this first went out, we talked about it on Big Damn Cast. Matt had no idea until the reveal. I figured it out about 3 sentences into his reading in the episode.
I had
because as a voice boy, I've really got an ear for voices. And I was like, that's John Sim. Now, I'm so glad you'd forgotten as well that he was around because he was teased at the end of the trailer at the start of the series.
And I watched it. I watched that.
The reason they did that is because they'd heard, just before the series went out, they'd heard they had heard that someone was going to leak that he was in it. So at like a press event, they put out a poster, key art poster, with the Master and Missy on it. Basically going, and John Sim will be returning this year as the Master.
Oh, I bet that was gutting.
Their plan prior to that was for it to not get out at all.
Oh, that's so annoying. People spoil everything.
People suck. If you are watching this and you are a member of the regular Doctor Who set report community, go touch grass at other places.
Go and speak to people.
Because that weird, that weird achievement you feel for spoiling a thing spoils a thing.
Just
and
to
it
let
sucks.
you know, as
of this recording in July 2023, I hate that I know that there is something in the upcoming season with a big practical slug monster in the 60s. The prop looks interesting. The way that it's like hugging people is really creepy. But you know what would have been even better? Seeing it in an episode instead of in freaking digital photos uploaded to Twitter.
If you want to spoil it for yourself, go ahead, but stop telling other people. Stop bothering the actors.
That's the only reason why
and the crew
why they keep, during this era at the minute, RTD2, why they keep doing publicity photo shoots of the Doctor and Ruby in their costumes is because they know it's going to leak, so they get it out there before anyone else can ruin it.
So unfair on everybody that works on it.
DWSR as a culture is, I'm going to get so much hate for this, but I mean it, it's pathetic. Stop. If you just happen to be nearby filming and you catch some filming and you take a photo, great. Think back to when this era began and they were filming at Cyberdog in Camden with David and Catherine and stuff. Like, that was fine, because there was people in London going, oh, there's some filming going on, why have they... Oh my god, it's Doctor Who! And they were taking photos. But you're back to the people who now follow the production and look for clues for the filming.
You're spoiling it for everyone.
It's just
I don't want to know anything.
Stop. Like, partially as a hobby, sure, whatever. But having us all be spoiled by doing this, and then like the gossip sites and pop culture sites that are like sad little leeches using that as stories so it gets spread even further.
People aren't going to like us.
I don't care. I don't care.
I don't care either.
Like, watching filming happen is fascinating, and 9 times out of 10 the crew don't mind it and the team don't mind it, because it's like, yeah, as long as you stay quiet, come and have a watch and it'll be lovely.
That's great. That's a great personal experience.
But I know what half the freaking monsters and the guest stars like look like for a series that, as of this recording, is like a year away. Because the same people obsessively go to every shoot and take photos.
It's not fair on anybody.
Stop doing it, for the love of Christ.
The amount of things that would have been amazing surprises, and you've taken that away from everyone. I hope you're happy.
The thing that made me realise that, no, I hate that culture massively was this in 2017, when they announced that John Sim was back as the Master and with a graphic and everything before the series started, because they'd got word someone was going to leak it.
That's so rude. It's rude.
Sucks balls. It's ridiculous.
Go and get a job.
There's a lot of things to say about the Chibnall era, and we will say it as we carry on with this marathon. But like, one thing that they really buckled down and buckled down and buckled into was filming in isolated environments as much as possible. They filmed abroad. They filmed in studio stuff a lot to avoid anything.
Do people
leaking.
still follow them abroad though?
People didn't follow them abroad. People didn't follow them abroad. No, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of.
I'm just saying, like,
there's a lot of Jodie Whittaker era stories where they like went to like Spain to just film bits and pieces for location stuff because it was a way to avoid leaks, and that came from how Chibnall shot Broadchurch after the first series and the success. They shot it so like
open.
No. They shot it so covertly.
Oh, okay.
So that nothing would ever leak. To keep like, because that being a mystery show and a crime show, they wanted to keep it. Want to keep it as thinky as possible. So, it's just, God, I hate that shit. But anyway, tell me about Mr. Razor and your thoughts on him.
Well, funnily enough, seeing it, I thought he was really charming. I thought he was going to be, this is an experiment of, these Cybermen, not Cybermen, because we don't know that yet. Like, he was going to be this sounds really harsh, but like an off-cut. Like, he was an experiment that didn't quite go right, so they just keep him around because he's useful. Yeah, because
it's like, why is he at the hospital? Like, all the others seem like creepy kind of stylised theatre horror nurses. And then there's just him, this little sort of, sidekicky, golem of a man, just like nodding around and being like, "Oh, I'm helping out. I'm the janitor. That's just what I do."
Do you know what I could not unsee? He looked like one of the dwarves from The Hobbit.
Yes, you said that.
I couldn't not see it.
At one point, you said, "He looks like a dwarf," and when you said that, like a Hobbit, like a Lord of the Rings dwarf, and as soon as you said that, I was like, "You're about to put two and two together."
Nope.
Because you're acknowledging that you're possibly about to acknowledge. Is this someone in prosthetics?
I knew it was somebody in prosthetics.
Right.
He also looked.
But
I
thought that'd be the beginning of you questioning why. Why is this person in heavy prosthetics?
No, because in my head I was like, "Oh, he's one of the rejects."
Yeah.
That's 100% what was in my brain. So when the reveal happened,
watching it live with you for this showing, the moment it was about 2 sentences before he pulled his mask off, you went, "Oh God, it's the Master, is it? Is it the Master?" And I was just not looking at you. I was like, "I'm not looking at you. I want to listen to your reaction as he peels his face off to Missy."
But I was like, "Oh!"
And I do like the reason. Like, he loves disguises, and they're really leaning into that
they
now.
They were so close. Him and Bill got so close, and he loved her as like a daughter or whatever he said.
He was busy mates with her.
He looked after
for the
her.
sole purpose of getting her to the point of full conversion.
I mean, I would be devastated, and
then just how callous he is about it.
I've never thought about
how callous he is about it in part 2.
That it's never. Is it really brought up that she's gutted about it?
In part 2, when he kind of taunts her, and you see that she's crying, like she's holding back the rage and the tear. When we the viewer see her as herself, and she stood there just crying, trying to hold it all back.
I'm sorry, I'm going to say a word now.
It's implied that she's been there for like a good few years.
Yeah.
What's the word?
He's a dick.
He's a dick. But he's the Master.
That guy's sick as a
and I love that he has his excuse where he says, like, you have to... I've always been a fan of disguises. This one had to be a good one. Especially when you look exactly like someone's former Prime Minister. And it's like, yeah, like, logistically, it makes absolute sense that he's gone to this length around Bill. Because if she had just, like, one moment of, hang on, weren't you Prime Minister when I was a kid? Then it would have been like, oh, God. Yeah. Just, macabre. The idea that, like, what we knew of the 10th planet and the original, the Cybermen stuff, like, it's our twin planet. It's where there's a whole other human race. They're basically the Earth. But everyone was dying of disease, and the thing that they were resorting to was, like, tampering with the body and replacing body parts. Here we see that they were taken off-world, and, like, those experiments continued, and even though the bodies, everyone was in pain, and like the things attached to them being speakers is so sinister. And you think it's like a morphine drip or something, and it's like, no, it's a volume switch.
Turned it down. That's grim.
But like they're also unnaturally strong. Like they're really strong because of course parts of them have been augmented.
Mm-hmm.
But they're in constant pain, and it's all about like, no, we're going to get there, we're going to get there. And then at the end of part 1, you see like the end results. Bill is essentially one of, if not the first one to be made in that way.
That image, yeah.
So Bill may or may not be the first Cyberman. Really scary. And the fact that... Because again, like, we don't know how long she's been in that cupboard. Sat in that cupboard. No, do you know what I mean? Like, she was just...
Sorry.
No, you know what I mean, though? She was just sat in a cupboard. Was she or was she not sat in a cupboard?
And that's a...
No, that's a cupboard.
And that's a cupboard. Another 5 Who Fans.
Another 5 Who Fans reference for the 3 people.
And that's a cupboard. That's true. That'll never not be funny. Sorry.
You've seen me perform like serious theatre,
Have I?
hold a crowd of like thousands of people at a live event, and yet your favourite thing I've ever done is still in a 5 Who Fans video where I went, and that's a cupboard.
And that's a cupboard. That's just really funny. Was it improv?
Yeah. It was just me and Dan and John like mucking about getting the shots.
Did you know it was a cupboard?
Yeah, I knew it was a cupboard.
Oh, right.
I knew it was a cupboard. I just did it in the take.
And that's a cupboard.
Anyway, go and watch the 5 Who Fans Halloween Spooktacular.
Without context, that's really random.
And that's a cupboard.
Yeah.
But like, she's been sat in there for God knows how long. She's essentially the prototype, and you get that oh my god, that freaking heartbreaking, horrendous, like, I waited for you. I'm going to say it now, nitpick. The only thing I don't like, besides the rubber hands, the only thing I don't like about this episode is one thing. It is one thing. That one thing is the zoom into the CGI eye, seeing Bill crying, zoom out to show a CGI tear coming out the Cyberman mask. I would much rather it have just been the Cyberman mask, and as you close in on it, you can see a tear coming out of it. I would much rather it have been that, because that implies that her whole head is intact inside that mask.
I thought that's what they were implying.
That's sort of what they're implying, but it's like...
I'm so sorry.
And again, I love the idea that, like, oh no, the original Cybermen in the very first story where they've got white socks on their heads. And that's obviously just the look, and obviously in black and white they look quite striking, and they've got like the big torch lamp thing on their heads. And
look, the budget wasn't
in this story, they show that torch lamp to be a freaking proper, like a proper ray gun effect and stuff. And it's like, okay, that's cool.
I think...
And the very subtle use of the Murray Gold modern Cyberman theme in some of the music, like really subtle reuse of that, is seeded well. But like the recontextualization of those white things actually being bandages is like grim. It's so grim.
God, it's dark, isn't it?
Yeah, although of course in part 2 we learn that isn't necessarily Bill's tears. We see narratively Bill crying.
Yeah.
Because that's what we, the viewer, are seeing for the storytelling device that they're using, and a way, obviously, to let Pearl Mackie act in the finale and be in the finale, despite the fact that that is not what Bill is anymore. But then we learn that those weren't tears. The Cyberman wasn't crying. That was basically like it was a signal. It was a signal. It was a call out to Heather.
Oh. I'm so sorry. Our dog looks really cute right now.
She's very cozy.
She's very comfy. And she does a big sigh. She goes, I mean, she's really cute.
Oh, what's on your mind, you little jobless freeloader?
You little scamp.
you little non-rent paying hitchhiker to this household.
What problems do you have, my love?
So anyway, have you got any notes for World Enough in Time before we go into the Dr. Falls? We'll have to keep this concise because we're already yapping. We're yapping. While you do that, I will prepare us for part 2. just kind of. There we go.
That's cold. That's cold.
Bill Potts. I am Bill Potts.
I actually love them Cybermen.
Me too. I love the OG design. Unironically, seeing what the Doctor experienced for it closed was quite nice because obviously they'd recreated them.
It looks like
for Series 10, so there was a few of them on display.
It looks like another one of them that's been made for a screenplay.
Yeah, I adore them.
I love it. For an early Cyberman, it's amazing because it's just a load of things put together, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Missy saying, "Don't be a bitch." I thought that was quite funny.
No, don't be a bitch. Yeah, it was like, okay.
It was the way that she said it, though.
Yes, yeah. I didn't hate it. It's in Doctor Who, and I didn't hate it.
It wasn't the writing, it was Michelle Gomez.
Michelle Gomez's delivery, yeah.
Ear with the hands, gross. Oh, sorry. I've got a big thing about
textures.
Textures. I've just thought of rubbing your fingers together.
Okay, moving on. Anyway, battery dying, one episode still to talk about.
I said, geez, this is grim, turning down the volume.
Mm.
The dwarf-looking guy is funny. I meant dwarf as in Lord of the Rings dwarf.
Yes, we get you.
They don't feel pain. I think they do. They do.
Mm-hmm.
When Bill's like, when he says, they don't feel pain.
They don't feel pain.
Bill's like, I think they do.
They do. John Sims
really funny.
John Sims comedic timing in this is great.
It's perfect. It's on point.
It's so good. Because he doesn't get to do comedy often. So when he does, it's like, oh god, he's actually really good at it.
I'm just making myself laugh. Michelle Gomez is hilarious. She is. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this, but I didn't like Missy at all. No, too much. Having watched Sabrina with Michelle Gomez absolutely eating the scenery.
Yeah.
I love her.
You love Michelle Gomez, so on this rewatch you've been a bit more open to Missy because you like her.
She's just wonderful. I just love Michelle Gomez. She can do no wrong. Anyway. the idea of the black hole affecting gravity and time is actually amazing.
Oh, it's great.
It's an incredible idea, and I'm really surprised they've not done it before.
That establishing shot where it pans past the ship and you see certain windows, certain viewing windows, and you see like a small city, you see like fields and all this. Yeah. And later on, the whole idea of some of them are there to grow crops. Some of the stuff's there to create oxygen because it's forests, and then that's funneled throughout the rest of the ship.
It's so clever.
The city where the main hospital is screwed and people are dying.
That's like dystopia. That's very. It blows my mind. It's so clever. Anyway.
And the way part 2 is like, we've moved them to a safer floor to try and get them further away from the emerging Cybermen, but they're gonna come here any minute.
Yeah,
they're gonna find a way.
They eventually will get here.
Yeah.
No, it's the Freaky Boys. I don't know what I wrote that about. The Cybermen?
I guess so. Yo, it's the Freaky Boys!
Yeah, well, I think they're freaky. Their faces are haunting. Anyway, I wrote, Sim? With a load of question marks and exclamation. Sim? Yeah,
Let's have a glass of milk and bitch about the industry. Who the fuck is John Sim? John Sim. There you go.
Write in the comments what that's from.
Win our eternal gratitude day.
And a tip of the hat. Yeah.
Just the tip.
God. No. That was an amazing moment because that blew my tiny mind. Because I'm not good with names, I'm good with faces. And I had no idea.
Also,
not a clue.
Spoiler alert, everyone, we're in the first ever multi-master story in the TV show.
Oh, yeah,
it's the first time this has ever happened. 2 masters in one story. 2 masters, 1 cup.
At the time, I was thinking, what? That wouldn't make any sense. That would create a time paradox. You wouldn't find a doctor to... Wait.
Well, that's the whole thing as well. They talk about, you don't remember any of this. Like, he keeps saying that to her. And it's because they've never encountered that, have they? The whole thing of, like, they all come together. Like, it's only afterwards does the oldest incarnation remember what just happened. The rest of them, the time differential makes them forget, so that they never do the wrong thing. It never changes. Like that's the whole point of it. Yeah. So it's like none of them ever remember it unless it's the Stephen Moffat Time Crash short.
CGI tier is shit. That's the last that I made.
Yeah, but then in episode 2 it clarifies that it's more than just a tier. It was a hint, and we didn't realise what was actually happening.
It's not what it means. I'm saying purely on how it looks. It looks balls.
No, we get you. Part 2, The Doctor Falls. I like a lot. I don't think it's as strong as part 1. But I think Rachel Talalay directs the shit out of it.
What a fun name.
Rachel Talalay, director of Tank Girl. Rachel Talalay.
Oh God, really?
Yeah, and Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare.
I can actually kind of see
Freddy's Dead. Credits start rolling, no pause. Oh my God.
I can actually see that. It's a bit chaotic.
And the thing is, she's great.
If you've never seen Tank Girl,
she's absolutely. But on a pitch so hard, your grandchildren will be born bruised.
That's a great line.
She is. She's absolutely found her kind of niche in genre TV. Like, she's done such good work on like the Arrowverse shows and Modern Doctor Who.
But yeah, sorry, can I just say, if you watch Tank Girl, the movie.
I mean, don't, but do.
If you partake in God's Green Grass, I would partake in that just beforehand and then watch it and tell me what you think. Write in the comments below. Like and subscribe, hit that bell.
Why isn't this Capaldi's last story?
Yeah, I agree.
It's the perfect ending for him.
I was getting emotional.
We'll talk about the ending in a sec. We'll work to the ending. But the Master's basically deciding how they're going to kill him for S and giggles, essentially.
It was making me angry.
Yeah, because you were like, you bastards.
In a way that you're supposed to.
Yeah. And the way that they're sort of going on, it's like, have you ever drowned? And it's just like, oh, this is grim.
You're a literal monster.
Like, they don't want to chuck him off the building because they're like, we've done that before. And it's like, yeah, you literally had a hand in that being one of his deaths, plummeting to his death from a great height. You swine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Logopolis from the radio telescope.
Oh,
yeah.
That was a bit ropey, that wasn't it?
And
do you remember that?
What?
Where it's literally...
Do I remember Logopolis? Yes.
It's literally a still image of the Master on this... on the tower thing, and Tom Baker moving in front of a green screen.
Yeah, that brief shot where you're like, oh no.
Oh dear.
doesn't make it any less of like a, oh no, like traumatic death. It is quite scary with that.
It is traumatic because what follows is just a poor. Anyway.
Anywho.
Go and listen to it, see what I think.
I don't like this episode as much for a few reasons. One, Moffat becomes Moffat again, and the male master is basically just constantly horny over his female incarnation.
Yeah.
Now. That wouldn't be as horrid. I think it'd be of course the master loves himself. If it were another writer, but because we know that Moffat absolutely has like self-insert preferences over what types of ladies drive him wild. You can tell that it's a bit like...
John Sims' master's never really been a horn dog like
that,
has he? Has he? Oh, with Lucy, I suppose.
Lucy Saxon. He used in emphasis, italics and bold, and abused Lucy Saxon. Like he was absolutely sexual and passionate with her, but it was to his own end. He was getting off on the fact that his plan was working, and this was amazing.
Ew.
And there was all those hints that he beat her and things like that in the second part.
I forgot about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Redacted.
But it's more the fact that he just keeps basically referencing, like, I mean, there's literally a bit in this where he references that he's just got a hard on. And it's like, oh, good lord. However, them dancing on the rooftop, that's great. That image is brilliant. Of course, the master is like having a little ballroom waltz with themselves while discussing how they're going to murder the person in front of them.
That's very master.
The way that the Bill Sideman's just stood by watching.
He's sexual. He tied up
David Tennant with the ball gag and everything. Well, it may as well have been. You know exactly what I'm talking about, though, don't you? Where he's on the gurney in the end of time, he's got like, the mouth gag over him.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Adric.
Jack. Oh, right. I was talking about John Sims' master. We did tie Jack up in a boiler room and have people like bring him food and then get him out to torture him and then put him back in again. I don't know.
This master sounds a bit funny.
He's a sadist in many different ways.
Well, I've just
so much so he's even regrown his sexy little beard. He's finally got the beard. I do like the fact he's got a new look because it means that he's appeared in 3 story arcs and each time he's had a different look each time.
Yeah.
So we've had him, like short, neat haircut, completely clean shaven. Like a prime ministerial master. We've had like the scary hobo skeleton master with the blonde tips and the part beard and everything. And now we've had him in his... No, this is me in my like girl boss era. This is me, gatekeep, gaslight, girl boss. Like, I'm dressing in a sort of Roger Delgado-esque outfit with a bit of a Capaldi red flash to the collar and stuff. Similar to his jacket in... Sound of the Drums, at the airport when he meets with the president, and he's got that jacket with the red lining and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, so he's kept that thing. The fact that he's got the goatee is obviously he's feeling himself again, and he's obviously somehow managed to stabilise his deterioration. They never completely explain how he got away, but that's good. I don't like knowing exactly how the master gets out of situations, because that's always been a part of their thing.
Yeah.
They always come back, no matter what. They always come back like the cockroach that they are. They always find a way out. They just give you enough. They give you enough of a hint that he's like, yeah, I got out of there, the Time Lords, screw them, they're a bunch of bastards. Anyway, I'm here now.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
He's a bad boy.
But he got stuck. He got stuck, and his TARDIS is there. His TARDIS is around somewhere, and it's just missing, I can't remember what the bloody hell it's called now, but the thing from Series 9. Season 9.
Yeah.
It's the exact same freaking thing that's broken. And it's like, and it's even the same sort of prop as well. I love that. Same prop that John Pertwee was faffing around with for a whole season. It's like, that is so good. And they have that little Bill and Ted moment where, like, she's like, you never, like, we're bad at packing spares unless what happens is one day an incredibly, like, violent woman threatens you to never forget to carry one with you at all times, whatever it is. And then she reaches into her pocket and pulls one out.
Yeah.
And it's like, they just Bill and Ted did that. Except at the end of the story, she tries to kill him. So it's like, wait a minute, hang on. I think it's a shame that this is the last of Missy because the Doctor never sees that she tries to do the right thing. But at the same time, I like how cruel that twist of fate is. At the end, she regrets it. She kills her previous incarnation, and then is going to go back and help the Doctor.
And that's why I'm mad.
Okay, hit me.
I just wanted her to do the right thing, and she was going to, because he'd done so much. I mean, he had so many opportunities to kill the Master.
Yeah.
But wanted to help him turn around. And he was helping her turn around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was in a prison, but she was in, like, a luxurious prison.
Yeah, I mean, she had a piano. and he occasionally brought her takeout food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. What more could you want?
She had worked at it, and you believed by this point, at the start of this story, that, oh my god, she actually has a chance. It was a roller coaster,
because you're like, oh, she does think that, oh no, she's not up for helping the Doctor. Oh no, she is a good person. Oh no, wait, she's not.
Like that bit where they, was it the bit where they get in the spaceship, Nardole finds that craft, which is very 1960s sci-fi, and I loved it. And the Master gets in, he goes, the Doctor's dead, he told me he always hated you, let's go. And then Missy gets in and goes, the Doctor's dead, he told me he always hated you. It's like, of course the Master would think of the exact same thing as himself.
Oh my god, Luna's just going to shout.
But like Bill, the beside man Bill holding the rope ladder and keeping the ship in place is a great visual. The way that the Doctor, apparently last second, that's cheesy, that doesn't look very good. It shows that he actually went like, and changed the definition of human to also include 2 hearts. So that's such... The way that's inserted is cheesy as hell. But it's like, especially when you've got a sonic screwdriver, and you could just in a moment of chaos, showing a shot of him just kind of like hit the machine with the sonic for just like a second. Do you know what I mean?
On the other hand, though, it was nice to see him do something that wasn't just, oh, the screwdriver can fix everything.
True, but like, I don't believe that they would not go, what the hell are you doing? As he stops for 20 seconds to type a load of stuff on a computer. It's like, wait, what?
Well, also, true.
But yeah, so Missy finally does come around, and it makes you wonder, was she giving in to her earlier instincts, and then as they get to the lift, she's like, no, like, I have to be better than this finally, and they're like, come here, and everything, and all that stuff. And the fact that she basically stabs him in a way that will fatally wound him, and he's going to die. I do like that idea of course, one of the Master's regenerations would happen because the Master kills the Master. Like, that's brilliant.
Poetry in motion.
And the fact that we don't get a confirmation that she's the immediate next one, I think, is quite good.
Well, we had a theory about this, didn't we? Because...
Well, a few people have had this, yeah, that, like, the next time we meet the Master, they're a full-on psycho villain again.
And we think that they are in between Sim and...
It's entirely possible.
Because he's a fucking psychopath.
There is no way... Dewan is still full-on supervillain. And also no way really hates the Time Lords.
Really hates them.
Yeah.
There's no way you can go from Missy, who is, after everything the Master's done, is turning to help the Doctor. There's no way you can go to...
good, as she says.
There's no way you can get a not so crazy man.
Snooker loopy not so wee.
And yet scary, wants to literally kill everything. But torture it first.
But, like, then again, maybe it is, because different strokes for different folks. Each incarnation is a different personality. They're the same person. How did they come back but they're the same person, but their desires, their wants, their preferences, like, that does change.
Their death was quite beautiful. Master's death.
The way they're both just giggling, and we see Sim descending, knowing he's going to get to his TARDIS, escape and regenerate. And Missy is dead. Dead by laser screwdriver. The laser screwdriver made a return.
In the flowers, though.
Yes.
She died in the flowers, like Snow White.
Yes, she looked like a Snow White at the end of her time, like older Snow White.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the fact that the laser
screwdriver comes over and gives a big kiss.
No, he doesn't.
No.
The laser screwdriver, though, I do love that prop, and I like the fact that they went, fuck it, just give him the laser screwdriver again. We've not seen it in 10 years. Give him the laser... Who'd have Sonic? Like, give him the laser screwdriver one more time, why not? That's what I've never owned. I've always wanted. We should, we'll go to a convention sometime and find a cheap second-hand one.
Yeah, just to get a screwdriver. No.
Nah. I meant like a small convention.
What if Pedro Pascal was there?
At a small convention. Welcome to Stoke-on-Trent with Pedro Pascal.
Milton Keynes.
No, that's not a small one. That's a big one. Is it not? The MK one's a big one. They use arenas and stadiums to like host the convention.
Yeah, the stadium, but just a ring bit.
A ring bit?
Yeah, the ring bit.
God. Oh, good lord.
The walkway.
What's the ring bit?
What's it called?
Oh, I'm leaving you hanging on that one. So, let's talk about our three leads, because this is their last story together. This is their last story together.
You just tell me if I'm right or not.
Let's keep going, because the battery's running low. It's their last story together. Capaldi's fun in this. It's not really his episode. It's Bill's. But he gets some of the best moment, like, everyone will mention it, the bit where he tries to convince them to stay, the Masters. He tries to convince them to do the right thing. And then when he realises that's pointless, he basically is like, right, here's why I freaking do what I do. And he's directing it all at Sim, but you know he's hoping that Gomez is listening.
Yeah.
Like, he's looking Sim directly in the eyes. Never looks at... He's always looking at the Master, he's never looking at Missy.
Yeah.
But you know that he's hoping Missy is listening and taking this in. The whole thing about, like, why he does what he does. I don't do it because I want to win. I don't do it because, you know, like, it means I'm the best. I don't do it because of that. Like, I never do it because it's fun. I don't do it because it's, you know, easy and everything. I do it because it's right. Like, it's the right thing. Because they're saying your plan's pointless. They're all going to die. They're all going to die. And you'll die. You're not going to save them all. It's like, that's not what matters. Trying is the important thing.
You can't just sit back and accept it.
And the fact that he then, like, the whole thing of, like, the gas mains and that, everything in the floor, like, rigging it to explode. And Nardole having set that up and everything, and then the Doctor's basically setting off explosions, knowing he's probably... He knows by that point that he's going to set that whole floor of the ship on fire, and he will die. And it will not destroy the Cybermen, it will just hold off this force of them and delay whatever the next wave are going to do.
Yeah.
Giving them all time to keep going. Because, again, the story ends on the implication that Nardole won't necessarily get those people out of there and that they'll survive.
Just giving them as much time as possible.
They're going to try to do that. And I kind of like that open-endedness, because it's like, Lucas's sort of last couple of scenes are quite nice. The way that he's like, no, let me do it. I'm a cyborg. I'm basically a sidekick. Let me do it. And
he's flirting with the
with the lady who we would get distracted by, because we were like, that's the fake postwoman from Inside Number 9
that we watched recently.
Like, what the hell? But like, yeah, it's. I think it's the right end for Nardole. He doesn't outstay his welcome. And
yeah, that's true.
He ends on a nice note. Matt Lucas is also very good with the younger actors in this. Like, you buy that the kids would turn to Nardole as someone to look after them. You know what I mean? Like, it feels quite right.
Yeah.
The Doctor's death, because it should be. They're like, pity, I hope there'd be stars. And he passes out in the middle of the explosion. Is great. I love that. It's perfect. And the fact that, like, that could be it for him, and it isn't, is a shame, because it's a really good ending. Bill. Pearl Mackie goes out on a high. Keep in mind, all the things I've been saying about these three, I'm putting an asterisk next to, and I'll explain why in a minute. Okay. Bill goes out on a high in terms of her performance. It is tragic. The intercutting between shots of the prop costume Cyberman with the Nick Briggs voice and Pearl Mackie in sort of like the Rags Villagers outfit. Basically how she feels she is versus what everyone's seeing. Amazing. So the shot with the mirror, so well done. It's amazing. And the fact that she kind of realises that, like, they're not going to make it. And she confronts the Doctor, doesn't she? She's like, you say that you're going to help me. You can't save me, can you? And he sort of essentially suggests that I will find a way, but no, I can't change this. Do you know what I mean? He's basically saying, without saying it, I cannot take you back to normal, but I will find a way to help you. Because also, Bill kills the Doctor.
Yeah.
Like, Bill's the one who shoots him, and then we find out in this episode that he's fending off a regeneration. He's like holding it at bay as long as he can so he can get the job done, basically.
Somebody get that man a cup of tea.
Yeah, a cup of coffee. Something nice. Some caffeine to keep me awake. Nardole, bring me a Coke.
I'm not ready to say
and some coke. Yeah, I'm not ready to say fuck it to bye. And the fact that he dies, seemingly dead, actually dead on the field, and then Bill and Heather take him back to the TARDIS, and there's that whole thing of like the theme in this story of where there are tears, there's hope, and he says that about her, and it turns out to be a beautiful little thingy because she cries. She gives him a little kiss in the forehead, or whatever. She cries. The tear lands on his face. She goes to wipe it off, and then stops herself and says, "Where there's tears, there's hope," and she leaves. Yeah. And that should have been it.
Sad.
She and Heather should have gone. The TARDIS should have been mournfully quiet, and then he should have begun to regenerate, and then regenerated there and then on the floor.
Yeah.
That would have been perfect. And there are, before anyone writes in the comments, there are fan edits of that online that merge that and the end of the next episode together.
I've seen that. You've shown me that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I can't remember it.
It's a shame that that's not where it's left off. So Moffat is scared of dying. Turns out that the tears coming out of the cyber as a TikTok filter. It's a shame where that's what's left off.
It's a cyber. It's on healing.
It's a shame where that has left off.
There were some balloons in the hospital.
So we get. Turns out Bill wasn't crying. She was incapable of physically crying, like in her actual form. That was Heather. As Heather said in the pilot, that she was going to leave a little bit with her, a little part of herself with Bill. Because at the end when she cries, she says, like, yeah, I don't think these are my tears.
Yeah.
It's a suggestion that there is a connection between them. And Heather arrives and essentially makes Bill a part of her same form. They are now the same, they are the pilot. They are the same, sorry, not the pilot, the engineer, isn't it? She's the engineer and Bill was the pilot. She was looking for a pilot or whatever. Yeah. Like, they are now the same. They're the same creature. Two consciousnesses. Same being. She makes her like her, as it were.
Yeah, so they can be together.
So they can be together. They deposit the Doctor in the TARDIS because it just seems the right place to leave him. Like it's, it feels right. It feels wrong to like leave him out of the put him back there, and
he's safe.
Yeah, he's safe. Like he's dead, but like no one will disturb him. The TARDIS will take care of him or take him where his body needs to go or whatever.
Yeah. The TARDIS knows what to do.
It's a lovely ending and further proof that Moffat is scared of dying.
Yeah.
But it works fine. Two things I don't like about this one, aside from the Horny Master. One, I don't like the idea of like, oh, the Cybermen are advancing their evolution to create a force capable of... No, just have the Mondas boys.
Just have them being made.
Just have the Mondas boys and maybe a couple of like, wheel in space, moon base Cybermen. Do you know what I mean? The more metallic helmets.
Yeah.
Have a couple of them. Because that to me is believably, oh yeah, we know that that's how their evolution advances. We know that that's the next stage after the first wave. But no, they've got a load of costumes from 2006 and 2013 knocking about. So they use those. And it makes no sense.
People know what they are.
And it makes no sense because these Cybermen, based on very, very loose references over the last few years, those Cybermen we've seen in the Moffat era are Mondasian Cybermen and Cybus ones merged.
Yeah.
Apparently at some point off-screen, they met, they merged their technologies and became the Cybus-looking ones without the C on the chest. Which then become the Nightmare and Silver streamlined Iron Man-looking ones. That's not the Mondasian Cybermen on their own. They don't get there on their own. Yeah. They are silver boiler suits with metal plating Cybermen. Yeah. So it's a bit of a shell. I know they wanted to obviously do a bit of an Asylum of the Daleks thing, but that was pointless in that as well, and it's pointless in this. It just doesn't work. So, don't do it. But they do it.
Could have done without.
Yeah. I also don't like the ending. Because now we have this weird thing where the Doctor's like, I don't want to change, I like who I am. And that feels like, hang on, that's the 10th Doctor.
Yeah.
Again. But also, that would work if he'd constantly been fighting with his morality.
Yeah.
That would work if this was the same episode in which he goes like, I'm not a good man, I'm not a bad man, I am an idiot with a box, flying through with a screwdriver, flying through time and but like that speech from the end of Series 8, if that had happened in this episode, and then he refusing to regenerate, I'd go, okay, I get it. He's like, no, I know who I am. I finally know who I am, and I refuse to die. Like, I know why. It's unfair. It's still too similar to Tennant,
Yeah.
Whose reasons, though, is selfishness, and that's sort of there in his character. But, like, it's dumb. I think the only reason they do it is because they obviously want to tie it in to what the last story's about.
Yeah.
Which is the Doctor not wanting to change because he's about to meet himself the first time in the shut up, like, Timeless Children will get there. The first time the Doctor, as far as they're aware, are doing it.
Right.
Like, the first Doctor, the first incarnation,
yeah,
is about to regenerate for what they believe to be the very first time that they've ever done it. And they're refusing. Which doesn't really happen in the 10th planet. Like, he's made ill in the machine, like, he's wounded and his body's wearing thin, and he says, like, it will not end not like this, whatever it is he says, and he goes off. And then eventually Ben and Polly get to him, and he's in the TARDIS, he's already gone, he's fading, and then they imply that the TARDIS helped. In Power of the Daleks, they, like, the second Doctor full on says, like, yes, the TARDIS helped me do that, that's why I had to be here. The TARDIS helped.
Yeah.
And they set up that idea. That's why the TARDIS is always sort of nearby for a lot of the regenerations, and they drop that idea after that. It's just like, no, they just regenerate. Because obviously by that point they'd figured out, oh, this is what it is, it's regeneration. And this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But there's always been the implication that the TARDIS is where they need to do it because it sort of will keep them safe and help them regenerate. This, of course, now is implying that in the 10th planet, he wanders off, has this whole other adventure in the next episode, and then Ben and Polly find him. But we'll get to that. The asterisks I put next to, this is the last time we see these three, this is the last time we see Bill, this is the last time we see Nardole, is because it ain't.
Oh.
It is. We'll never meet actual Bill again. We will never meet actual Nardole again. But we will see them again. That's for next time. What are your notes before the battery dies?
I have one note.
Yes.
No!
And you drop the phone which it's on.
La 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 la, filler. La la la. People on crosses in a field. Okay.
The corpses of the defeated early Cybermen as warning signs is very, very cool. I like it. It's creepy.
Scary, creepy.
Do you know what else is creepy? Moffat's Fear of Dying. Who's on the front cover of that?
Oh, what? What?
We're not done with Bill. Well, we're not done with Bill Mackey. Join us next time for one of my, and this is not going to change, I guarantee, one of my least favourite Doctor Who stories of all time. One that I hate so much, I put it on my wish list because I was like, I'm not buying it. And it was bought for me, as you can see from this note. It's not even been opened yet. This note from lovely Billy Tracy, who wrote, "Happy birthday, Papa J. I asked the man in the shop and he said this was the one you wanted." After I got this and I said, "Thanks, Billy," he said, "You do know that's the only one they've also done a 4K release of. Do you want to put that on your wish list? I'll buy it for you." I went, "No!"
No, thank you.
As of this recording, this is the only Doctor Who story to have a 4K Blu-ray release.
Still.
No, but also this one. Ew. No. We will be back next time with the end of the Capaldi and Moffat era.
I can't wait.
The return of David Braddles and
I love Peter Capaldi. I'm not ready to say goodbye.
And Mark Gatiss with a funny little moustache.
That's the only clip I've seen.
Thoughts down below? Let us know.
Thoughts down below.
Thoughts down below. Thoughts not be gone. Be here in the comments. And let us know what you think of Empress of Mars, Eaters of Light, World Enough in Time, and The Doctor Falls. Do you agree that The Doctor Falls should have been the finale for Capaldi? Of course you do. You're not insane. We'll see you next time. Good boat.
Hit that like and subscribe and the bell and all them things that YouTube people say. Bye.